Welcome to the Marine section of Alaska Weather. I'm Eric Holloway with the National Weather Service for October 20th, 2023. A couple menu options in the phone system, also out on the World Wide Web at weather.gov/Alaska. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us. Looking at the ice edge today, a little bit of shore ice showing up across much of the Arctic coast, Beaufort Sea coast, down through the Chukchi Sea, and out along the Seward Peninsula coastline as well. And then for tonight's weather, high pressure will dominate the weather with the ridge centered over the Norton Sound region, 1036 millibars there. Good weather for much of southern mainland with sunny skies associated with that ridge of high pressure, and a low pressure system just south of the Alaska Peninsula at 1003 millibars there, and another ridge out there in the Gulf of Alaska. Then if we step back a little bit, we can see that the Panhandle has some lingering snow showers with that offshore flow for them, bringing some snow showers across and some mixed precipitation across that region of the state. But otherwise, that strong flow along the Arctic coast will bring some elevated surf, strong winds, some blowing and snow showers across that region, and extends into the Brooks Range. And a little bit of onshore flow back across the Seward Peninsula brings some snow showers in that area of the state. And out there in extreme eastern Russia is the next system with a warm front, strong southerly flow associated with the system coming into view for Sunday. But otherwise, ridge dominates the weather across the region. And that continues into Saturday with 1035 millibar ridge of high pressure near the same area in Norton Sound. But otherwise, continued nice weather across much of the southern mainland. Low pressure south of the Alaska Peninsula continues to rise south, 1012 millibars now. And that ridge of high pressure in the Gulf of Alaska, 1028 millibars there. Some lingering rain showers in the Panhandle. And continued onshore flow across the Arctic coast there with snow showers into the Brooks Range, and some onshore flow bringing some snow showers across the Seward Peninsula. And there's that next system, strong southerly flow associated with that across the western Bering Sea. Then for Sunday's system coming across the Bering Sea, 1036 millibar ridge of high pressure moves over into the Yukon Territory, driving some continued nice weather across the southern mainland, and offshore flow with cooler temperature across much of the mainland and into the Panhandle, clear skies over there as well. But the sixth system we'll be watching is the system coming through the Brooks Range and into the Bering Sea with that low pressure system driving a cold front. Rain and snow showers, mixed precipitation is going to be associated with the system, and some possible strong onshore flow there, probably elevated surf as well along portions of the west coast. And then Saturday's marine forecast, looking at for the inside waters, winds generally from a northern direction up to 30 with seas as high as 6 feet. Outside waters, winds generally from a northerly direction as well, 10 to 15 with seas as high as 5 feet. And then for Sunday's marine forecast, for inside waters, winds generally from a northerly direction up to 15 to 25 with seas as high as 5 feet. Then for the outside waters, winds generally from a northeasterly direction, 15 to 20 with seas as high as 6 feet. Then for south central, looking at northerly winds across the region with winds generally at around 15 to 20 across much of this area, even over in the Cook Inlet region as well, with seas as high as 3 to 4 feet. And then for Sunday's marine forecast for this area, for south central, again, northerly flow dominates the entire area, 15 to 20 with seas as high as 5 feet in some areas. And then for Saturday's marine forecast for Alaska Peninsula and Kodiak Island, winds around Kodiak Island generally from a northeasterly direction, 15 to 20 with seas as high as 6 feet there. Southside Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from a northeasterly direction, 25 to 30 with seas as high as 8 feet there. And along the north side of Alaska Peninsula, winds continue out of the northeasterly direction, 20 to 25 with seas as high as 7 feet. Sunday's marine forecast for the area, looking at northerly winds across much of the Kodiak area, 15 to 20 with seas as high as 5 feet. Southside Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from a variable direction, 10 to 15 with seas as high as 6 feet. And for the north shore of Alaska Peninsula, winds generally from an easterly direction, 15 with seas as high as 5 feet. Then for Saturday's marine forecast for Aleutian Chain, looking at winds generally from a northerly direction, 15 to 30, with winds switching around from the southerly direction out there in the western Aleutians, up to 35 with seas as high as 9 feet. So look for small craft or gales there on Saturday. But as we look across for Sunday, look at the strong southerly winds across the region. Out there in the western Aleutians, winds generally from a southerly direction, 40 to 45 with seas as high as 18 feet. So look for gales or storm force winds there. Back across the central and eastern Aleutians, winds generally from a easterly direction, 15 to 20 with seas as high as 7 feet. Then for Saturday's marine forecast for the southwest area, west coast, and so winds generally from a easterly direction, 15 to 20 with seas as high as 8 feet near the Pribilofs. And then for Sunday's marine forecast, winds switch around to the south, 15 to 40 out there in the eastern Bering Sea, seas as high as 19 feet. So look for gales or small craft advisories there, and winds from the southerly direction near the Pribilofs as well, up to 25 with seas as high as 6 feet. Then for the Arctic coast, for Saturday, winds generally from a westerly direction along the Beaufort Sea coast, up to 45 with seas as high as 12 feet. So look for storm or even small craft advisories up there. And down through the Chukchi Sea, winds generally from a varied direction, 10 to 15 with seas as high as 5 feet. Down through the Bering Strait, winds generally from a southwesterly direction, 15 to 20 with seas as high as 5 feet. And then for Sunday's Arctic coast forecast, winds generally from the west along the Beaufort Sea coast, up to 20 with seas as high as 10 feet over there north of Kaktovik. So look for small craft advisory there. Also have to mention the heavy freezing spray along that area for Saturday for that area. And then for the Chukchi Sea coast, winds generally from a southerly direction, 20 to 30 with seas as high as 8 feet. So look for small craft advisory there on Sunday. And that extends down through the Bering Strait with continued southerly winds up to 30 with seas as high as 8 feet. So look for small craft advisory there as well.